Hi guys, so I'm getting emails and looking at your work, and we're definitely struggling with the math. And there are two distinct problems. One, you're not using the formula, you're not setting up the formula correctly. So the numerical setup is wrong. And two, the algebra. So we're going to take each of those problems one by one. So let's go look at numerical setup, right? Because if you set it up wrong, there's nowhere to go. Okay. So if a solution contains 4 moles of sodium chloride in 0.7 liters of water. So let's go. We have 4 moles, 7 liters. And we're looking for molarity. The molarity formula, not the mole formula, the molarity formula is moles of solute per liter. So to set this up, I don't know the molarity. I know the liters, and I know the moles. This is what I'm looking for when you set it up, that you can put every number in its correct spot, because people are putting numbers in random places. Okay. So this is a point, right? It's just like that. And this one's fairly easy, you divide. Okay. So most people were able to get something, that kind of math done. You just divide it. Okay, so let's take a look again. This one was fine. Let's take a look. Number 3. People, even though I said it at least twice, it has to be in liters. So again, we're looking for molarity. So the molarity we don't know. The moles we know. And this has to be in liters. You divide by 1,000 and you get 0.250. So that's a reason people are getting this wrong. So again, numerical setup, really important. 0.75 moles, 0.250 liters. And then you just divide. So converting. Right? You have to read the problem correctly. Okay. Let's continue. Some other places where I saw problems. So we're going to take this step by step. This was broken down to help you. And I think people weren't realizing they were connected for some reason. Gram formula mass of HCl. H is 1, Cl is 35.5. We talked about this before. If it's not like 15.999, if it's not that close, don't round really. So 1 and 35.5, and you get 36.5. If you did round up to 37 or down to 36, I still gave you credit, but let's just be careful with our sig figs. How many moles of HCl in a solution? Moles. The mole formula is the given mass over the GFM. The given mass in the problem is 108 grams. Okay, the gram formula mass, you just figured it out. There you go. And then you just divide. Again, if you round it differently, that's fine. So it's approximately 3 somewhere in there. Okay, 2.93. How many liters? This is where people stopped using formulas. Molarity, liters. Molarity equals moles per liter. Well, we know the molarity. This is molarity. 6.0. We know the moles. Let's say the moles are approximately 3. Okay. I'm rounding, but 3. 3 moles. And we don't know how many liters. Okay. We don't know this. So X liters, or if you just writing X, if that looks weird to you, just X. But okay. So now I have to solve for this X. All right, this is my X. 2 ways of doing it. So one way, I can make it 6 over 1 equals 3 over x and cross multiply. Right? Just putting a 1 underneath, you're allowed to do that. It says still 6, so it's fine. And so you can cross multiply, and then you can solve for x this way. You can get 6x equals 3. Divide both sides by 6, and you'll get 0.5. Okay? That's one way of solving it. Let's take a look at another. And I think this is the algebra way, the better way. Number 2. Okay, so we have 6 equals 3 over x. Right? Because again, they gave us the molarity. They didn't give us the moles. A lot of people put this 6 there. No. Capital M. Look carefully. Stop going so fast. Slow down enough. Right? It's not a race. Education is not a race. You don't get extra points for being quick and wrong. You get points for being correct and a reasonable amount of time. Okay. Now let's look at algebra. I need to solve for x. Okay. I can do a lot of fancy work, so I can go through the steps. Right? I can multiply both sides by x. Now I get 6. Make that a little better. 6x equals, that cancels 3. That's a 6. So I can clean that up a little for you guys. So again, I'm trying to get x by itself. I can multiply x by both sides. There it cancels, 6x equals 3. And then to get x by itself, I divide both sides by 6. That cancels. And I get x equals 0.5. So you can do either way. I'm going to show you a shortcut, a third that's shorter. And you should have learned this in Algebra 1 or pre-algebra. So, back to this again. 6 molar, 6.0 molar. We already know that there's 3 moles from the previous step over x. Okay. So that's for this. So, x is down here in the denominator. This is up here. You can simply swap them out. And then you get x equals 3 over 6. Pretty easy. Okay. So, again, this is like being over 1. So I can just swap those out. That can go and that can go up here. Pretty easy. Okay, so you should have learned that trick in algebra. If not, and again, this only works if this is up top and this is the bottom. They just invert. And then you get, again, the 0.5. Okay. So try a problem right now. I'm going to try a side problem. Oh. Okay, so I want you to try a random problem. Let's do 8 equals 5 over x. Okay, pause or whatever you need to do. Solve for x. You can use the cross multiplication. You have 3 steps. You can cross multiply. Or you can do the algebra. This is up top. Right, this is a 1. I can switch those out and just make it x is 5 over 8. Right. Again, pretty easy. But again, get your calculator out and solve. Those are your cross multiply or algebra. And again, this only works that like when they're up down. Okay. Once you get your calculator out, 5/8, 0.625. And with sig figs, you would round. Okay. Try one more. Okay. Not giving you any hints this time. Solve for x. Again, I like doing the inverse. I'm gonna round. Okay. I really should have 3 sig figs, but it's okay. Okay, so hopefully we're learning how to deal with x in the denominator. Let's go back. Okay. So we just did an x in the denominator problem. Let's keep going with that. Let's go to number 8 here. We have 7 grams. 7 grams of solute, 0.15 ppm. Okay. So again, numerical setup, very important. So what is the formula? Parts per million equals the solute over the solution times a million. That's the formula. So let's put the numbers where they belong. Okay? So parts per million, that's going to go here. Equals, we know the solute, 7.7. The solution, that's what we're looking for. That's x. And then don't forget the 10 to the 6. So again, x is in the bottom. We just did a problem like this. This is up top. That can stay there. Right, these are being multiplied. But x is in the bottom. This is up top. We can just swap it out. Or if you like, put this over 1 and cross multiply. Take a second. Give it a try. Again, swapping that out. And 7 times 10 to the 6 over 0.015. Notice I'm grouping these. It's all in the numerator. And I'm using parentheses. You're going to have to use parentheses. That might be another place where you made a mistake. Okay. And you get a very large number. And I'm going to round. Or I can write this. If you write the whole thing. But again, you would round that. Okay. Don't be scared of big numbers or small numbers. Set things up correctly. Let's take a look at one more. "30 parts per million, 5,000 grams." So again, using the formula, parts per million, solute, solution, times 10 to the 6. We know the parts per million. People were putting this number over here for solute. No, solute's in grams, remember? Grams. Parts per million equals, and we know the solution. This is the it says solution, so that goes on the bottom, 5,000. We don't know the solute, that's our x, but we do know it's going to be multiplied by 10 to the 6, or parentheses, however you want to do your multiplication. Okay, got to solve for x. X is up top now, so I can't just switch it, right? I got to isolate it. So this is up top. I can divide both sides by 10 to the 6. Again, notice I'm keeping that in parentheses. That might be a place where you didn't do that. Okay, this is going to divide out. 5,000's on the bottom. The opposite is multiplying. Whatever I do to one side, I do to the other. That's multiplying. So notice I'm keeping things in parentheses. I'm keeping the top and the bottom separate. This divided out. So x equals 5,000 times, however you want to write times with a dot or with the x, whatever. 30 divided by 10 to the 6. And again, notice the use of parentheses. Again, you should have learned this in math class. If you are still really lost on the algebra, you really need to watch some algebra videos just to brush up. Maybe you haven't done much algebra this year for some reason. Okay. And your final answer should be 0.15 grams. Okay. So again, let's go back. I'm going to have you try some practice. Let's put x up here. 0.25. Let's put this 2500. And again, let's have this up here, 10 to the 6. That's in the numerator. Okay, so solve for x. Move things around. And I'll show you a shortcut in a minute. Okay, so here's how I approach algebra. As a lot of you're undoing things, you're unwrapping the gift, which is x is our gift. This is up top. I move it to the bottom, and I just cancel. This is in the bottom. I move it up top. Okay. Now I've solved for x without doing a lot of writing. Okay, so again, you're undoing things. So this is all gone. X equals 12,500 times 0.25 divided by 10 to the 6. So again, if it's up top, it moves down. If it's denominator, it moves up. But you keep the parentheses. You keep things organized. And when I get that, let's see. Again, using parentheses, very important. And again, ultimately I would round that, but that's the calculator answer. Okay, let's try a mix of these in your worksheet today. And that way you'll have some extra practice. Set it up correctly. I want to see you putting the numbers in the correct spots in the very first step, and then use the algebra or cross multiplication to solve. Okay, you can do this. Slow down, take your time, read the problem, use your formulas, use parentheses on your calculator. Okay, good luck.